Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's me, it's Clayton, and I just got out of seeing The Nice Guys. So, are you a fan of Lethal Weapon? If you are, then you'll absolutely enjoy this movie. It so perfectly captures the look and feel of the 1970s. It's like you're watching a classic buddy cop film of the 70s and 80s, except, it's done in modern day. So, what's the story of this film? Well, tell me if this sounds familiar. A down-on-his-luck private eye named Holland March, played by Ryan Gosling, gets a case in order to find a missing girl named Amelia. With him is a hired enforcer by the name of Jackson Healy, played by Russell Crowe, a very gritty guy who likes to get his hands dirty. And along the way, they also have to find the murderer of a seemingly unrelated porn star named Misty Mountains. This is rated R, so don't bring your kids. And as the two of these people try to solve the case, every single person involved in the said case, which gets more and more convoluted the further it goes along, ends up dying. So they have to find Amelia, and they also have to find out why everyone involved in the case ends up, dead. So I won't explain the rest of the story for you because seeing this criminal conspiracy in the film it's really best if you follow it yourself. But the film's story is surprisingly well told, mainly through a very self-aware script. Shane Black has a tendency for his scripts to be self-aware and full of comedy. If you've seen the Lethal Weapon film and if you've seen Iron Man 3, you definitely know he has that style. And it returns here very well. There are jokes in the background, there are jokes in the foreground, there's references to old films like Smokey and the Bandit, there's references to old TV shows from the 70s. He's captured the time era that the film's in, and he uses it for humor as well as for a very unique setting that not a lot of people use very much these days. And like I said before, this is a mature film, so don't bring your kids to it. There's tons of sexual content, especially in the first act. There's a drug trip or two. There's tons of violence, especially with gunplay. But once you get past that, it's actually a great film. I mean, a lot of the enjoyment of the film, in a similar fashion to the original Lethal Weapon, a lot of the enjoyment comes from the chemistry of its two leads. Russell Crowe's character, Jackson Healy, is a very gritty, getting his hands dirty type of, hired enforcer. And he actually has a really good rapport with Ryan Gosling's character, who's pretty much an idiot savant. What I mean by that is he's a total moron most of the time, but he can come up with some brilliant ideas when the plot demands it. So yeah, it is worth going through his complete moronic methods in order to get to the one or two good ideas that come out of his brain. Though you do understand why his daughter is surprisingly more competent than he is, and his daughter's only 13 years old. It's almost like Shane Black is making fun of Ryan Gosling throughout the majority of the film. And considering that he was in The Notebook, I know I might have some people who like The Notebook, but yeah, it makes sense for why he would make fun of Gosling considering he was in The Notebook. My God. Not only that, but the side characters are really enjoyable too. I mean, you've got Keith David as one of the supporting antagonists. You've got Kim Basinger as Amelia's mom, who surprisingly plays a big part in the story. No spoilers. And she surprisingly she's probably at her best that I've seen since L.A. Confidential, and that was back when I was born in 1997. Anyways, the film's got tons of humor and tons of violence and tons of explicit content, but it never forgets what makes these buddy cop films work, the chemistry between the leads. Whenever Gosling and Crowe are on screen, they always have something funny to say, something interesting to talk about, and something that either captures the time period or gets a good laugh out of the audience, while still moving the plot forward. It's very well done. I wouldn't say the film is as funny as certain films this year that have made me laugh out loud for extended periods of time, like, say, Deadpool, but This has to be one of the smartest scripts that I've seen for a comedy all year. Every single joke comes back as either a major plot point or it comes back to remind us of a funny moment in the film. The running gags continue to be funny after the first 3 or 4 times that they're said. And there's even some good visuals that let you know about scenes that previously happened in the film, or scenes that will happen that the movie's cluing you into, but you might not catch the first time. I wouldn't say that this film redefines the buddy cop genre, especially since it does use a lot of, the same plot devices that films of that bygone era used. But I will say that if you want a film that feels old-fashioned in the best of ways, one that is soaked in explicit content, but also has a great chemistry with its 2 leads, this is definitely one for you. So I give The Nice Guys a 9 out of 10. But for next week, it's not going to be so nice, because I'm going to have to deal with an apocalypse. So you better call on the X-Men. See you next week.